Hi guys, welcome back to a page in the chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige. I like to read a lot of books and then talk about them here on this channel with you guys. Today we are doing the Mid-Year Freakout Tag. I love this tag. I look forward to it every year. Well, this is only my second time doing the tag because I've been on BookTube for just over a year now, but I still really enjoy this tag and I've been loving seeing everyone else put up their Mid-Year Book Freakout tags. I am excited to get into some of the books that I've been reading this year with you guys because I haven't spoken about all of them. This can bring you up to date on some of the books that I haven't spoken about yet. Also, guys, look, I have the Wizard of Oz book earrings. How cute are these? I love The Wizard of Oz. If you haven't read it yet, you should, because the book is different to the movie. And yeah, these earrings are just so cute. I'm never taking them out. If you guys like what you have seen so far, why not hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for my future content. I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is absolutely no shortage of bookish content here. You do not want to miss it. You guys can also check me out on Twitter and Instagram. I'm very active on both of them, and it's a good way to kind of control the content that you are seeing on this channel because you guys get to pick thumbnails, you get to pick books that I read next, you get to pick videos that come up next. It's just a good way to have a little bit more control. And with that, let's get on into the Mid-Year Book Freakout Tag because I'm very excited. The first question is, what is the best book that I've read so far this year? And the best book that I've read so far this year was actually my second or third read of the year, and I read this book in early January and I deemed it my favourite book of the year then, and I'll be honest, nothing has really come close to that. In fact, there's one book, the next one of the books that I'm gonna mention also in this video has come very close to that as my favourite book of the year, but I still think that this book wins out a smidge at this current point in the year, and that is Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. So the fact that I dislike Sarah J Maas books is kind of 95% of my personality on BookTube. I just think that her characters are usually very two-dimensional and flat, and I hate the way she writes love triangles. I don't think you fall madly in love with someone in book one and then in book two just decide that you don't love them anymore and you're in love with some dark guy from up north. Like, I don't think that's how love works, and if she does it to Crescent City with the next book, then I'm gonna be so upset. I can kind of already see it going there, but maybe it will be less flat this time and I will like it. But I just absolutely adored Crescent City. It felt like a crossover between The Mortal Instruments and Ninth House. It's like a fae going on a murder mystery witch hunt type of book, and I was literally just fangirling and screaming and crying and having all of the feels that entire time. I have not felt that excited to read a book since I was like 12, 13 years old, like reading Cassandra Clare books for the first time. Like, it really made me feel like that, and I don't think any other book this year is going to bring out that feeling in me. So I think Crescent City just has to be the best book of the year so far, just for that reason. The next question is, what is the best sequel I have read so far this year? I wasn't sure if this question is like it has to be a sequel as in it has to be the second book, or it can just be like any not first book in a series, but I've taken the second meaning because my pick for this is Heartstopper Volume 4. I have actually read all of the Heartstoppers this year, but Volume 4 just really like takes the crown for me. I adored everything about this book. If you guys saw my reading 21 books in 21 hours vlog, then you will have seen me just absolutely losing my mind whilst I read this. And I think the thing that made me prefer this book to all of the other Heartstoppers is that Alice Oseman really took the time with this book to teach her young adult audience that being in a relationship is not going to fix all of your problems, when there are millions of YA books out there that are trying to teach young adults just that, and it's just not true. And I really appreciated that this book dealt with that. So Heartstopper Volume 4 is darker than the other books in the sense of it deals with mental health in a much more in-depth way. It's still the light and fluffy Nick and Charlie graphic novel that we know, but it deals with some deeper topics. But what I also found particularly interesting in this is that it deals with mental health from the perspective of a loved one, more so than from the perspective of the person dealing with it, and I thought that that was a really interesting twist and a really interesting perspective to view it from. You can kind of say what you like about that. Some people are probably really going to hate that it's from that perspective, but I thought it was fresh and helped with the message that it's not going to fix all your problems. What is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to? You guys, I think you probably already know what I'm going to say, and that is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Everyone is talking about this book. Everybody loves Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really enjoyed Evelyn Hugo. I haven't read Daisy Jones. I want to, but the audiobook is really expensive and I have been told that the audiobook is really the only way to experience it, so I'm waiting until the audiobook is not so expensive. But everyone is talking about Malibu Rising. It has massively blown up on Book Talk as the Hot Girl Summer book, even though I know absolutely nothing about what this book is actually about plot-wise. Some people that I really trust as reviewers have really enjoyed this book, so I think that I will. I really want to get to it. It is just a case about seeing the book in a store and going and buying it, because I don't like online book shopping anymore. It's gotten boring, I've done it too much, I want to wait until I can go to a store. So the next question is, what is my most anticipated release for the rest of the year? I'm gonna put it on the screen now. None of them. I don't anticipate releases. I'm sorry. The only time I will anticipate releases is if it's a Cassandra Clare novel or like another one of those kind of series. I was aware that like Taylor Jenkins Reid was releasing Malibu Rising this year, but I didn't know the exact date. I didn't pre-order it. I'm not too fussed about anticipated releases. What was my biggest disappointment of the year? You guys are really gonna hate me for this, but it was Six of Crows. Oh god, I'm so sorry. I know it's so beloved. I do apologise. If it makes you feel any better, I like Leigh Bardugo. I loved the Shadow and Bone like trilogy, but Six of Crows just didn't do it for me. I didn't get the hype. I couldn't tell you anything that happened in that book. I know it's a heist book, but I couldn't tell you who any of the characters are or like what the hell went on in that book. It didn't stay with me and I didn't think it was anything special, to the point that I won't even read Crooked Kingdom even though I have the collector's edition. I don't know, it didn't resonate with me. I didn't get the hype. I didn't enjoy the book. Maybe one day we will give it another go. I want to like it. I really want to like it, like so badly, because the last year's Mid-Year Book Freakout Tag, I said that Leigh Bardugo was my new favourite author, so I really want to like it. It just wasn't what I thought it would be. I'm so sorry. The next question for this tag is a book that surprised me, and I actually have two picks. The first pick is Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. I did not expect to be as blown away by this graphic novel as I was. This is a graphic novel about our main character, Freddie Riley, and Laura Dean keeps breaking up with her. They are in this constant on and off relationship, and it is making her lose sight of her friendships, her goals, and her own personality. And through writing emails to this advice column and hanging out with her friends and making new friends, she realizes that this relationship is really toxic and she is better without it. And it is about her coming to terms with the fact that she does not need to keep going back to Laura Dean. And I just absolutely loved it. It's also just absolutely beautiful. The whole book is like shades of black and white and baby pink. This has been featured on my Bookstagram so many times because I just think it is absolutely beautiful. And the second book that really surprised me this year actually was A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I absolutely detested Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. It was one of my December Christmassy reads that I was so excited for, and I just found it so incredibly boring. And I also hadn't heard particularly good things about A Deadly Education. I just heard some people say that they didn't really get it, it was really boring, etc, etc. But I really enjoyed it. I thought that the world was such an interesting world. This school setting was so cool, and I will be buying the sequel. Is it going to be my favourite book of the year? Probably not, but it still took me by surprise that I enjoyed a Naomi Novik book. So, as previously mentioned, there is a question on this tag that is, what is your new favourite author? Or favourite new author? New to you or a new debut author? And I again have picked two because I have read a lot of new authors this year. I'm really diversifying my bookshelves quite successfully. Woo, go me! So I've discovered a lot of new favourite authors, and the first one is a very recent read, and if you've seen my Instagram then you will know. That is Malinda Lo, the author of Last Night at the Telegraph Club. I gave this a 5 stars. You guys can check out my review when I do my June wrap up. But what I adore most about Malinda Lo and the way she wrote this is she really maintained the cultural integrity of this book. She is writing about our main character Lily, who is Chinese American living in Chinatown, but also in this very American world. Not only in the author's note did Malinda Lo discuss the amount of research she put into the terms that she was using in this book and all things like that, but what I loved is that she wrote wrote anything that was supposed to be in Chinese in the actual Mandarin. So she writes in the actual Mandarin, and then down at the bottom in the footnotes are the translations. So you can still read and understand everything that's being said, but I felt then that the text really reflected this Chinese-American hybrid world that our main character is experiencing. I thought it was really cleverly done. I really respected the amount of research that went into this book and how well it was handled. If Malinda writes all of her books like this, then sign me up for the fan club. And another new favourite author of mine is Kalynn Bayron, the author of Cinderella is Dead. I really enjoyed Cinderella is Dead. I thought the twist on a classic fairy tale was one of the best I've ever read. I don't think anyone else can write retellings the way that Kalynn Bayron does, and I am here for all of her future works. This woman's brain is just, again, sign me up for the fan club. This next question I can answer for you very quickly because it is, what is your newest fictional crush? And I don't have one. I don't. I have some friendship crushes. I desperately want to be like best friends with Nick and Charlie. Like, I have a fictional crush on them, but I don't like have a romantic crush on them. That would be strange. Don't have a new fictional crush, just a lot of friendship crushes. And then we have newest favourite characters. No one particularly jumped to mind for this. Like, yes, I love Nick and Charlie, but I love them as a duo, and whilst I would want to be in their friend group, I don't know if they're like singularly my favourite characters, like of the year, of all time. So yeah, no one really jumps to mind for this one again, unfortunately, but we still have 6 months. There have been 2 books recently that have made me cry. The first one was when I reread The Midnight Library by Haig. This is a very hopeful book about mental health, but I read this for my 21 books in 21 hours, and I read it at midnight, and I was very tired by that point. I'd read over 10 books, and so I broke down a little bit because I was so exhausted. But the first time I read this I didn't cry, so I don't know whether to count it. And then another book that made me cry was Crescent. That gave me all of the different kinds of tears. The slow burn just ripped my soul apart, and the plot twists just then ripped the shreds up even more. A lot went down in my heart with that book. And then we have a book that made me happy. Again, Crescent City, but also again, Heartstopper. I haven't actually read that many books this year. I am only up to about 46 books this year. I'm 4 books behind schedule, and 46 is a very solid number. I'm doing okay. But when I was looking at my Goodreads challenge to like put together the list of books for this, I realised that it hasn't been a fantastic year for me in terms of books that I've actually loved. I've been reading a lot of books that I haven't enjoyed so much. So there's a lot of repeats in this Mid-Year Book Freakout Tag because the books that I loved, I really did love, and then everything else was a bit meh. Hopefully that's going to change for the better now though. The next question is, what is the most beautiful book that you've acquired or seen this year? Now, you've already heard me talk about how much I love the cover and the artwork for Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me, but this next book is Beauty and the Beast, and it is these beautiful old looking covers. But the best thing about this book is it has a load of like pop-ups and like activities that you can do that just adds to the whole reading experience, and it's just so fun. You can open everything up, and there's so many additional things, and I just think it's a beautiful book. And I know that these are kind of collector's items and they have a load of different ones, so maybe we can start a new collection. And the penultimate question is a book that you would like to get read by the end of the year. A book that I've been really interested in lately is Ariadne. The cover looks beautiful, I've been seeing it everywhere. I would also really like to get around to rereading A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. I said that I was going to do this for Do the Thing-a-thon, and then I didn't get around to it. I also said about this time last year when I first read it for the reading rush and I didn't like it, I said that I would give it another go and I would reread it. It's been a year now and I haven't got around to doing that, so by the end of the year I would like to have reread this and have given it my final opinion on whether I like it or I don't, not in a reading slump, because the first time I read this I was in a reading slump and I gave it a pretty poor review, so I'd like to see if I stand by that or not. And so then the final question is my favourite book to movie adaptation adaptation of the year. I don't really watch book to movie adaptations, just because if I haven't read the book, then I don't watch them because I don't want to spoil it. In case I do, then go and read the book. But also if I've read the book, then I don't watch them because I know I'll get pissed off by how the presentation and stuff of characters has gone. I know that everyone is probably saying Shadow and Bone, the Netflix adaptation for this. I didn't watch all of it. I watched a tiny little bit of it because I was curious, and then I just couldn't take it anymore. I thought the presentation of the Darkling was just incorrect and I really didn't like it, and also I didn't want to spoil myself for the other like book series that are in the Grishaverse because I might go back and read them, I don't know. So I stopped watching it. Other than that, there are literally none that I have watched, and I've also read the book. I really enjoyed The Queen's Gambit. That's a book to TV show adaptation that was very good, but I haven't read the book, so I don't know. So I guess my choice would be The Queen's Gambit because it's the only one I've enjoyed, but I don't know if it counts when I haven't read the book. And so there is my mid-year book freakout tag. I do hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know down below what some of your answers to these questions are, how your year has gone for reading, what are some of your goals for the rest of the year. Let's chat! Thank you very much for watching, especially if you made it this far. If you did make it this far, why not hit that big red subscribe button down below, because I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here. Why would you not want to stick around and talk about books with me? I hope that you guys have an absolutely fantastic reading week. I hope you enjoy all of the books that you are reading and there are no slumps in your future right now, and I will see you on Wednesday for my next video. Bye guys.